everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. On today's video we're going to be talking about how to start preparing for grade 12. So this video will mainly focus on grade 12, but these tips are very useful to anyone in high school proceeding to the next grade. The next academic year is in less than a month, so it is definitely not too early to start preparing for your next grade, especially grade 12. Before we proceed with the video, I would like to ask you just for one thing. Please click the subscribe button and like this video in return for the wonderful tips that I'm about to give you that made me get the best marks in grade 12. Grade 12 is probably the most important grade in your academic life because it is the deciding grade whether you get accepted to higher institutions and you get to study the career of your choice. So the sooner you start preparing for it, the better. While it is the most important grade, it is also the shortest grade of them all because it starts in January and ends in July. So you do not really have enough time. After finishing grade 11, I knew that I had to start preparing for grade 12 immediately because I needed these results to apply. Your March and June results are as important as your September and final results because if you get bad results in March and June and get rejected, they won't even get to consider your brilliant final results. So you need to start working hard from the beginning. Just to share my brief experience, I got accepted to Wits and Stellenbosch for medicine by just submitting my March and June results. As I always say, failing to prepare is preparing to fail. So I'm going to be sharing with you how to start preparing for your grade 12. So you need to take a pen and a paper for this one. So let's start with the languages. I know that most students don't pay that much attention to languages because we are thinking those are the easy subjects. We are more worried about maths and physical sciences and life sciences. And I'm telling you, languages are the most likely to betray you when it comes to your report or your final statements. So these tips apply to any languages, whether you're doing first additional, second additional, home language. I'm just going to give you the tips in general. So in English, you have 3 papers. Paper 1 is for languages in context, which consists of comprehension, summary, and language structures. Paper 2 is literature, which consists of novels, dramas, short stories, and poetry. And paper 3 is writing, which is your essays and your transactional writing. Let's talk about paper 1. So paper 1 is mostly about you understanding the comprehension and be able to answer the questions. And you also have to know your tenses, your idioms, how to construct your sentences, and all of that. And for that, you need your English handbook. I used this book throughout my matric and it helped me a lot. But let me tell you something I wish I had done more, and that is reading. You need to read. You need to pick up a book and read as a young person. Either you're reading short stories from a magazine, you're reading your novels. It is so important because when you're reading, you're going to come across this word that you don't understand and you pick your dictionary and find the meaning. And it might happen that you find the exact word in your exam. Reading is good for improving your vocabulary, improving your comprehension skills. It improves your grammar and it also improves your writing skills. Coming to paper 2, this was the most challenging paper for me because I didn't get enough time to prepare. And this is going to be a difficult paper for you as well if you do not start preparing today. The short stories and the novel that you're going to be reading in grade 12 is already available for you. Why don't you start reading? Start reading your novel today while you still have time. Make a summary so that it is easier for you when you are reading it in class, that you already have background knowledge and you can start asking questions about it. So I've linked different study guides to help you with your literature in the description box. It is available for all the languages that are done in high school. It interprets the literature, gives you the summary, and there are practice questions for you to do. Coming to paper 3, this has to be the easiest paper of your languages because you already know what to expect. When it comes to your essay, you know that you will write either your narrative essay, descriptive essay, reflective essay, or argumentative essay. There is no surprise. And when it comes to your short transactional writing, you know that it is either your formal letter, application letter, friendly letter, your CV, agenda and minutes, advertisement, newspaper article, etc. So you get into the exam already having a scope of what to expect. But the reason why you are not getting the best mark in this paper, it is because you do not prepare properly and you do not have a structure when it comes to your writing. Even though having good vocab is important for this paper, but the most important thing is following a structure. So the best way to prepare for this paper is having templates. Have a specific template for each and every kind of writing that you will follow. So write a template of your formal letter, your informal letter, your CV, your agenda and minutes, your review, and all the possible transactional writing that they might ask you. And ask your teacher to help you with the editing or review. Use the same templates for your March exams, and when you get feedback, update that template and use it for your June exam. After you get the feedback, use that same template for your September exam. I promise you, when it comes to your final exam, you will have perfect templates and you will stand a high chance of scoring 100%. And please make sure you share this video with your classmates because I am definitely sure that they will also like to hear these tips. Moving on to life orientation. This subject is similar to languages. Most people ignore it and it is one of the most likely subjects to betray you. So as we all know that there is no final exam for life orientation, your final exam is your trial exam, which means you do not have enough time. So when it comes to life orientation, your class mark, it is probably the most important. I'm talking about your assignments and your class test because these are the marks that are gonna accumulate and make your final mark. I know most students always tell themselves that life orientation is all about general knowledge. They do not really need to study it. I promise you, in grade 12, you need to study your life orientation, even though it is general knowledge. But the only way for you to get the general knowledge is by reading, not by just hearsays. So when it comes to life orientation, they are most likely to ask you about the current situations that are happening in our country. So honestly, watching news might be boring, but trust me, it might help you in your exam. I suggest to you that you take your textbook today and start reading and writing summaries. Imagine starting your grade 12 with all the life orientation notes summarized. Find study guides online or buy yourself a study guide and start summarizing your notes today. Did you know that as a student, you do have the right to know when they're going to give you an assignment, when they're going to give you a test? It doesn't have to be a surprise. You do not really need to wait for a teacher to tell you on the day that you have an assignment that is due in 3 days. So what you can do is ask for a teacher's guide that has all the information about your academic year. When are you going to write that class test and what content does it consist of? When are you going to write that assignment? What is the assignment about? And when is it due? Now let's talk about mathematics. If you know that you didn't do well in grade 11 when it comes to maths, please don't even bother yourself with starting with grade 12's work because the work is similar. The challenges you were facing in grade 11 are the challenges that you're going to be facing in grade 12. If there are concepts that you didn't understand in grade 11, you still won't be able to understand them in grade 12 if you do not go over them. So the best way to prepare for your grade 12 maths is to first make sure that you've mastered your grade 11 work. If you've mastered your grade 11 work, I promise you, you can write a grade 12 final paper and get at least 70%. Because when it comes to grade 12, in each and every topic, they add maybe a certain rule or a certain formula, but most of the content is similar to grade 11. Let's take a look at the past papers, for example. One of them is grade 11 and one of them is grade 12. They are both final exam papers. Can you tell the difference? The questions look so similar. Here's another example from another paper. This is a grade 11 and a grade 12 paper. They all look similar. It's the same topic, same graphs. They are asking more or less the same questions. So my point is, if you want to prepare for maths grade 12, make sure that you've mastered grade 11. If you still had challenges in grade 11, go back to those challenges right now. Coming to those who have mastered their grade 11 work and they've been getting good results. As I've said, grade 11 and grade 12 work is very similar. Do not be afraid to take that grade 12 paper and start tackling it. Do not be afraid to start watching grade 12 YouTube videos, to take that grade 12 study guide and start working. So now I'm going to give you overall tips that are going to help you to prepare for your grade 12. Number 1, gather your resources now. Buy your study guides, get your textbooks, search for YouTube channels that teach the subjects you are studying the best, because you will need those. The second thing is know your academic calendar. I know most people don't really pay attention to this, but it can really help you to know when is your term ending and when are you writing your exams, so that you can prepare yourself ahead of time. The third thing is get that teacher's guide. Get that teacher's guide. It tells you what topics are you going to be studying for each term and how long you should spend time on each topic, so that you can be able to track yourself whether you are remaining behind or not. Another thing, it does tell you when are you getting your assignments and what topic is your assignment, when are you getting practicals and what is the practical gonna be about, and all the class tests that are gonna happen. Also, you get to know the weighting for each practical assignment and test. Some of the teacher's guides are available online that you can download, but I think the most accurate one is the one you get from your teacher from your school. The last important tip that I'm about to give you is find a tutor. Even though at school I knew that I didn't have problem with learning the content, understanding it and getting good marks, but I felt the need to find a tutor because you can never learn enough. So if there is a possibility, find a private tutor or go to extra classes as much as possible. In grade 12, do not ever have a free weekend. Do not ever be free on holidays. If your school doesn't offer extra classes, go find a school that offers extra classes. I know for those who go to private schools, it is rare that they offer extra classes for free, but there is probably a public school that you know about that won't have problems with you joining them for extra classes. So please arrange all of that in time. So we've come to the end of the video. I'm gonna see you again in January when we are drafting those study timetables, when we are learning more study skills. So be sure to subscribe to my channel and share this video with your classmates. I'll see you again on another video. Bye for now.